Live from the protest line at the X, demanding a relish soft serve ice cream. Gross. It's a Vocal Minority podcast.
Why wouldn't they have relish? Come on.
No, I want to throw up either way.
Because literally no one relished the idea.
Oh God, this is disgusting.
Oh no. Oh dear.
Disgusting.
Sorry. Well, hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Vocal Minority Podcast. The podcast that will perhaps very reluctantly go to the X. On this week's episode, we look back at a win in Charlotte. Huzzah! Talk about some Campial Lesser Lights winning matches.
Ooh.
So review some terrible kits. And perhaps give thanks that Canada doesn't get new kits this season. Look ahead to a slew of matches and more. And now this week's panel. Most likely to be the carny to bluntly guess your age. Say hello to Duncan Fletcher.
You're 60 and you probably weigh 200 pounds. Prove me wrong.
It's like we're there.
Dark.
We'll find all the best bargains at the flea market. Welcome to Mark Hinckley.
It's my nature to go looking for treasure. So even in a place like the X, I'll do it. DVDs 3 for $10.
Ooh.
He told the Polar Express operator he wanted to go faster, and we haven't heard from him since. So Tony won't be joining us this week.
Uh-oh.
As for me, you'll find me going through the haunted house again and again. I love that shit. I am your host, Kristin Knowles, and now to our show. All right, well, first up, as always, a little what's been going on. And we're going to start with the TFC versus the CLT. Yes, that is their official designation. It is hilarious. And yes, you can snigger every time you see it, and you should. So the exciting...
They deserve everything. I don't know why this isn't more of a thing. I really don't. Maybe they can't find the joke. Ha.
Well, I'm going to say, TFC found a spot twice. Who knew?
Charlotte's going to be really happy tonight, huh?
Right?
Mm-hmm. No glowing.
Good Charlotte. All right. So even though only 2 matches have been played between these two teams, Charlotte does certainly seem to be the tonic for whatever ails TFC, having now beaten them on an aggregate 6-0. So, can we play you every week? It would probably wear off. The fun would probably wear off. But
no. Another
clean sheet, some nice goals, positive effort all around. Nobody got hurt. It's just one of those oh, okay, good things can happen. And TFC actually can be productive away from BMO. That's nice. And Charlotte is just not good against Toronto. Is that basically what it is? Well, again, Charlotte's not that good. We all know this. But yeah, it was not too shabby.
Mm-hmm. Not bad.
Bit of a boring first half, but that's okay as long as goals weren't scored and things like that. But yeah, ultimately,
I mean
solid.
That first half was just. It wasn't even like they were resisting the pressure from Charlotte. Like Charlotte had the majority of the possession and a handful of shots, but nothing vaguely threatening, except for the one goal that they scored because the one forward his arms went out celebrating until he realized that it hit the side netting.
Yes,
on the other side, but it's like you have the literally.
Oh God, yeah, I forgot about that.
Of the ball. Going quote unquote into the net. I mean, it went into the net, but it went into the netting. But anyway, I had so many questions for his eyesight. Beyond that, it was one-sided, and that one side didn't do fuck all.
Yeah.
So, whatever. First half, fine. Nobody was bad. Nobody was good. But then the second half happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a fair summary of the first half. Really, it was okay. I don't I had expected to miss that because I had been out and I was thinking I'm going to get home at about 8 o'clock and I should be home for the second half. And the first half's just about to start. That whole lightning delay was delightful. But yeah, I could have missed that first half and my life would not have been poorer.
No, exactly. Yeah, I ended up I was on a family Zoom call for the first half. So same thing. It was like, well, I'm not really missing much, am I? I had it on on mute in the background, but nothing was grabbing my attention. I think one of the interesting things was seeing, not interesting, maybe worrisome, something we talked about a few times already last week before. We'll probably keep talking about it. Still this question of, outside of extremely talented Italian players, where are the goals coming from? Is anyone else going to score this season? On a consistent
like it was only
basis.
a couple of games ago we were talking about how amazing Jonathan Osorio was and how many goals he scores and should we give him a DP contract because look at all the goals he's scoring.
I know.
So I feel it's unfair to be. I think you could ask that question beyond those two and Osorio.
Sure.
Would be a fairer way of putting it.
He's been injured as well or sick or something, but he's apparently he and Mark Anthony Kay, and there's another player that we sort of need back, both out injured. Mark Anthony Kay's been out longer, but apparently we're both at training today and actively training, so potentially see them sometime this week, which would be nice. I think just because I look and see, Achara coming on, Akinola starting, Jimenez still, and actually that was one of the interesting things. That was one of the things in that match again. And props to Bernie, to Bernie Zesky, who just is so much fun. It just seems like a genuinely I just think he's just having a ball. Do you know what I mean? But he more than once over the last several matches, if he's been playing and Jimenez is playing, you've seen him try very hard to set up Jimenez for a goal. He's doing his level best to get this guy a goal because he's so clearly snake bit right now, right? Nothing is falling for him. He's lost his starting place. It doesn't matter. So I just find that to be, very good. It's a good thing. It's a good thing to have a teammate like that. And hopefully sometime in the next 6 matches that happens. Because should they sneak into the playoffs, going to presumably need, you're going to need a healthy Jonathan Osorio, but you would also like to see somebody who's an actual forward scoring the goals. That would be helpful. I know.
Yeah, I don't think we should be looking at that one. To be fair. Yeah.
All right, well then, speaking of the playoffs, so on the heels of this, this match was a bit of a return to recent form for them. They had the unfortunate loss against Miami Vice, but rebounded very nicely with a very good win on the road. Hard to do in MLS. Not out of and not just mathematically. No, they're legitimately not out of playoff contention yet. There is an actual opportunity here. And we're going to probably talk about this every week until they're out, but are they going to make it? What do you think?
No.
Still no, or?
Yeah. No.
I still have optimism. I feel like that they've got, I don't want to say enough firepower. I'm gonna go with enough creativity. They've got enough creativity where at least 2 or 3 of them know how to play with one another, and it's only a matter of time before it becomes 6 or 7 of them. Knowing where the pass is going to be, how that pass is going to come in, where they need to be in relation to that pass, and then who's going to be where once they get that pass. I kind of feel like it was we're kind of at that awkward game 2, game 3 phase of what Vasquez's trajectory. Like it took him a couple games for everybody to figure out what the hell he was doing and how that made them better. So the difference between Vasquez, who is merely but a man, is that there's 2 Italians, arguably
like he's a man made of butter, like a butter sculpture.
Yes.
Perfect for the X.
That they are passing to one another. I mean, the shit that they were doing to Charlotte in the last 10 minutes was like Harlem Globetrotter hilarious.
Yeah, that's
going
true.
into the corner and literally fucking with 4 of them, just the 2 of them. They were, and I don't, they weren't really meaning to embarrass them, but
they just can't help themselves.
If they did that 20 minutes earlier in the match, one of them would have caught studs. Stop it. So, but it was just.
None of them are Richarlison. Come on now.
True, but like they're. I feel like if once the rest of the team not catches up but figures out how they fit into the way it works, you see fleeting moments of it. Wonderful ball from and to from Insigne, even Bernardeschi. Like they're gonna figure it out, and once they figure it out, hopefully that turns into just more goals. The defense, I think it's just gonna be a matter of like, I don't know if we're gonna win every game 4-0, but we might win a few of them 4-3. We're just gonna have to brute force the game just to get the points,
right?
And because I don't really see that really improving. But I do see that they are now getting, like, if they had this firepower earlier in the season, they probably would have about 9 points more than what they already do. Not because it's only 3 games or 4 games, whatever the math works out to, but there were some games where the opposition was just abysmal and they won.
Yeah.
All they had to do was just if they played like this in those games, they wouldn't have gotten all the points from every game, but they would have gotten some of them, and they'd be sitting in 6th. So I do think it's possible. I don't think they're done, and there's so many teams still in that squishy, murky middle that,
oh my God, so many
that not all of them can be better. Not all of them can sail past Toronto, because some of them have to drop points. So it's just a matter of when the dust settles, can they eke that 7th or 6th spot? And I do think they're capable.
It's a possibility for sure. Yeah. And when we're just talking about, obviously Bernardeschi and Insigne and everything, the goals in this Saturday's game, Bernardeschi is obviously delightful.
Incredible.
Insigne, everyone's like, oh, that was amazing as well. It's like, it's a good little free kick routine. Yes. And a very well taken free kick to put in exactly the right place. But yeah, I feel like Insigne scuffed that shot. He didn't catch that clean at all. And I was like, oh, that's an amazing finish. No, it wasn't.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
And let's not let the narrative get in the way of
facts.
He fluffed it, absolutely. But counterpoint, how awesome did it look? Like that's
it worked out very nicely, yes.
Also counterpoint, did everybody see that nutmeg by Lil Crisco?
Ah, yes, that's delightful.
Oh,
that would be nice if
that
that had finished in a goal.
Just delight. Just because that led to the goal. That was like he's great. And sorry. Also, I just want to also mention, speaking of defense, Bernardeschi, to have the presence of mind to track the fuck back, make a crucial defensive play, and then score 30 seconds later or 45, whatever it was. It just like that whole minute or moment was just delightful.
There's a part of me that like after that, watching that game, I like, okay, there's no way that this is true. There's absolutely no way. But that somebody at some point in time will just say, a manager possibly.
Oh,
Told them to go easy on them. Just go easy on them. And then around the 65th, 70th minute, they kind of made eyes at the bench, and whoever they made eyes to gave them like that solid that nod, like yep, like execute them, like you're like giving the assassin the order type thing. And then they just turn the fucking screws on.
Fighter, Mortal Kombat, whichever it is.
Like, that was great.
They could have easily had two more. Like the fucking audacity on that little whatever backheel bullshit that Bernadeschi did that went off the defender and nearly went into the net. And if it weren't,
he was trying to get the ball to Jimenez with that little cheeky backheel. I know. Oh, I know. It almost like backfired spectacularly in our favor.
But that's
I know.
the thing. Like to do something so audacious, have it fuck up, and still nearly result in a goal. That's what I'm talking about. They were just fucking with them for the last 20 minutes. What were you doing the first 70? Clearly, he's not important. We got plenty of time. And that's kind of really kind of did, because that first half did not look like they were going to do anything in the second half.
Yeah.
The first goal was the first shot. They're fucking with them. Conspiracy theory. Check it. Back to you, Kristin.
The winning team
Marcus.
going to qualify for the playoffs, win MLS Cup. That's what you're saying there.
I don't know if I want to go that far. That's even
that feels excessive for this season. I think
that's really conspiracy theory. Hilarious though. I mean, who doesn't want to see this team win it? But I mean, if they win it, I mean, the league. I hate to say it, the league's a fucking joke. Because we've been dog shit all season long, up until our three new birthday gifts arrive, and now they're just wrecking shop. Are you kidding me? Is that all it took? Was 3 Italians at the end of their season to win a league?
Yeah.
MLS will be rife with Serie A players on a contract after that.
I feel like I've seen a thing basically. Sort of, Insigne on his own is like the 7th highest paid team in MLS.
Yeah,
so it's
he
not
gets
just
paid a fuck ton of money.
And now the teams don't want to spend a lot of money, but him on his own there's only like 5 or 6 teams that have a higher overall salary than that one player. So.
That's terrifying.
Which explains the emails that hey, buy this overpriced jersey that's autographed. Got to recoup somehow.
Yeah.
All right. Well, moving on from that to CanPL as their season is winding down, and this race for first. This is the top 4. It might actually be a top 5 now based on the weekend's matches. So the exciting thing about the weekend's matches is that. Not only, exciting, I'm sad, but good for them. Not only did Winnipeg beat the Aquamen, but Edmonton won. That's right. Edmonton won. And
allowed?
It is allowed. And it was Duncan, you would have loved it. It was a defensive shit show. It was 3-2.
Can't go wrong with that.
Everything looked like it was going to be like super, it was going to be Halifax, and then Edmonton came marching back, and then Halifax came back, and it was great fun. Happy for Edmonton to do well at all. It sounded like there was like actually people at the match.
I feel like you're overplaying this now, Kristin.
I am
after the last few weeks of Kristin hates Edmonton.
I don't hate Edmonton. You guys are awful and mean. Anyway.
Wait a minute. Whoa. Wait, Duncan, are you compensating for something? I'm not compensating.
I don't feel like it. No.
All right, I just want to make that.
You've met me. I don't need to compensate for anything. Come on now. Anyway. They won, which is lovely. They had fans in the stands, apparently. Also lovely. The league has been very quiet about what is happening with Edmonton. So hopefully having something positive happening as the season, wears on, instead of it going the opposite direction, right? Like, just like, well, season's almost over, who cares? It doesn't, perhaps the other way, things are growing, people are starting to realize, we need to come out and support, and the team is obviously not just like laying down, that sort of thing. So one hopes that things continue to go well for them, although it looks like they're on the road. Probably better if they play in Edmonton, but that's okay. And then, yes, Winnipeg did beat Pacific in what was honestly a weird match. Pacific still, I guess, not fully recovered from their CONCACAF adventuring, but not great.
Amateurs.
Honestly. And yeah, so Winnipeg are just behind, 5 points behind the Aquaman. And
Winnipeg are nailed on for 5th. Let's not pretend there's anything more than that happening.
It pretty much is.
5 point gap to 4th, 6 point gap to 6th. Congratulations, Winnipeg, you got 5th.
You're solidly in 5th.
You are a great mouse.
Mm-hmm.
But it was exciting for them. Give them that. Yeah, it was. Anyways, it's fine. So Pacific still in a position to move back up, but yeah, they'll finish somewhere in the top 4. Like, the top 4 will be the top 4. Like, we're just gonna potentially mush things around a little bit in terms of where people end up. And Hamilton continued to not do themselves any favors by not winning against now arguably the best team in the league. So, sorry, Mark.
Yeah, I don't know what you're apologizing to. Right? You talk shit about your own team like this. It's really.
I talk shit about my own team all the time.
Really, all the other teams too, but
it's true. I just talk shit about every single CanPL side.
Look, I just want. I meant to cover this in the last one, but since the segue is here, I would like to thank Mother Nature for causing a lightning storm in Charlotte so that I could fully get the entire 90-minute nap from the Ottawa-Hamilton match so I could be rested to watch the TFC game in its entirety.
That's fair.
Holy crap. What a not game.
Right?
What a not game with possible stakes on the line. It was... Wow. And people went to that.
They did. Lots of people apparently.
I've been to some stink games. I mean, we've all been to some shitty games, but you ever been to a game so not happening you just wondered, can you get a refund for this? It was anyway. They deserve this. The shit talking they get for this one, that's for sure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it was not a good game for Hamilton. But it wasn't a good game for Ottawa either. You're at home, right? You want to neutralize one of the other good teams in the league, but it was a dull, boring match. Ottawa didn't really get a chance to, employ any counterattacks or anything like that, but it was just kind of however, the best part of this match was after the match. I don't know if it was the same day, if it was the next day. I don't pay attention to One Soccer shows. I don't pay attention to Wheeler, but it kept getting retweeted into my timeline, so I had to watch this clip of him whining about the Atleti and how they're such a boring team. And I'm like, well, they might be boring, but they're in first place and have consistently been up at the top for some time now. So they're doing something right.
Look, my only question is did Atletico Madrid not send in the last check? Because I didn't think he would be allowed to say shit like that. Fucking anyway.
It was just funny. And
to be fair, I mean, well, they've got 27 goals in 22 games. I mean, ugh.
Yeah.
But hey, they're doing all right there. They're clearly sort of winning some games. Their goal difference is, after 22 games, they've got a goal difference of +4, but they've turned that into like winning half of their games. So, yeah.
Yep.
They're only a youngish team. This is like, I think, their first year of being pretty good. So, like, baby steps. Get a fucking solid foundation in, and then, maybe you can buy some like fancier players, get some fancier loanees from Atletico Madrid, and become the entertainers and what have you later on. But this is fine. This is what you got to do.
Daddy approved loanees.
Well, I'm honestly like, as much as obviously I would like Pacific to be in first, but I'm quite enjoying this. It's nice to have a different team competing for the top spot, but also to have Ottawa sort of shrug off their growing pains fairly quickly. And
that's
put
good.
together something solid. And I'm really curious, to see how they do through the playoffs and stuff, but I'm very curious to see, sort of as you said, like what they do next season. Now that they've established this sort of, hopefully this is their baseline, right? Like this is where the place where they operate from, and can just add to that, which is great. I mean, which is what you want what you want in any league, really, but certainly in a young league that is still trying to grow and attract fans and stuff. So good stuff. I like it. All right. Well, it is time to move on to what we're talking about. And we're going to start with, oh, dear God. So Lucas Cavallini.
Is that what we're starting with? Violence?
Yeah, that's what we're starting with. Oh, yeah.
You were literally choosing violence to start. Okay, just checking.
Well, if you see the rundown, I'm ending with violence too, really, so it's fine for this segment. But Lucas Cavallini, who, if you watch the Canadian men's national team, or if you're a Whitecaps fan, but if you watch the Canadian men's national team, you are aware that he has a bit of a temper.
Ooh, a bit?
He can be a bit rough around the edges, a bit physical at times.
Yeah, maybe questionable decision making from time to time.
It's always good to put a bet that he's going to get at least a yellow card.
Exactly. Yes, if you do that, you're going to make that's a sure bet. It really is. It's kind of like setting your watch. It's sure bet that Cava is going to do something stupid that will result in a card of some color. And he's already demonstrated that this season with the Whitecaps. In fact, he's already had a red card this season and multiple yellow cards. I didn't go back and count them. But on the weekend, it's rare that you see spectacular red cards. And I only say this because, like, if there was there's the red cards, and then there's red cards where there can never be a question. And when your own coach calls you out in the post-match press conference saying that you owe the fans an apology, and that people will not be surprised if he is suspended for the rest of the season for this act of madness, he literally stomped on a player's head. After what was probably stepped on his head.
Yeah, I feel like stomped. It's like inside, suggests
too much emphasis.
I am going to literally try and crush your head. This was more. I'm moving past you. I'm going to step on you, but it wasn't. It was violent. It deserves a red card. I'm not sure he was just stomping on this guy's head.
No, he did look down before he did it.
Well, I think he knew what he was doing, but I don't think it was quite as violent as stomp. But
stamp? How about stamp? Can we find a middle ground with stamp?
He certainly stood on the guy's head. He stood on the guy.
Oh, so he had a good game.
Yeah. Hey.
Yeah. So and there was a little mix up before the little they were bashing into each other. There was definitely a yellow card probably coming Cava's way instead, and then so straight red, absolutely deserved, zero question. Nobody's happy about this. I'm glad to see I didn't see a single person defending him. And
I want to see somebody defending him, though.
I want to see it right so badly.
I just want to know who's just this delusional about everything.
I just love the fact that he was just subbed on to start the second half. It's like 8 minutes.
Yep.
8 minutes.
Only 8 minutes.
Yep.
Yeah. He was subbed on at the start of the second half, sent off in the 53rd minute. You're 2-0 down. You really need to. I'm sure they've just had a big sort of pump up speech from Vanny, what's his name? You've got to really to kind of go out there and get back into it. They introduced Cavallini for something a bit different and everything.
Exactly, some energy, a little bit of manic energy out there, and then
let's introduce some chaos, and you really did introduce some chaos. Hey.
This is not going to end well for him. So then the question, has to be asked, and I've seen lots of people asking, and it's fair. With World Cup less than 3 months away, and there are certainly, there's definitely some players whose positions are locked for the World Cup squad. We all know that. And I think maybe 2-3 months ago, you would have said Cavallini is one of them, because unfortunate. Well, was there 2 unfortunate incidents during the qualifiers? There was at least one. But he also did some nice things, was instrumental in a couple wins. But just based on looking back, there's at least one red card during the qualifying, I think, for Cava, wasn't there? And then whatever his behavior has been during the MLS season, that sort of thing. Does this knock him out of the squad?
It depends. I don't think just the red card in and of itself would, because I could totally see John Herdman seeing himself as being, I'm a good man management. I can properly control this, and I think Cavallini, it is a good way to introduce chaos. I mean, so David and Laren are both kind of similar kind of strikers. I think they're both better strikers than Cavallini. But potentially, you go with them, and if it's not, things aren't quite working, you just need to fucking introduce something different. And, I think Cavallini can be that something different, that's sort of a bit kind of more chaotic, throw himself around up front and see if that can make anything happen. And I do feel like Herdman would back himself to be the kind of guy who can manage the personality and keep everything under control. So I would say no, but I mean, you're talking about potentially if he's suspended for a long time. I mean, you were saying, some people are saying maybe at the end of the season. I think if that happened, then, do you want that guy who's probably on the edge of the squad, but who hasn't played a game in 2 or 3 months? If it's a long suspension, that might kick him out. I don't think the actual incident itself would.
Yeah, I think that's more than likely the outcome of this. Unless somebody catches fire in the next 2 months, that's just been a fringe player, which I don't think there is.
Tesho?
What's that?
Akinelli? I love that that's Duncan's automatic Akinelli reaction, and that's consistent. You are consistent with this, so I give this to you.
Yeah, and it's like Akinola, he's certainly not playing himself onto the squad yet. I don't know, I guess more one of the European-based ones. Ike Ugbo, is he getting minutes and playing and doing things? Anyone?
I feel like he's getting minutes. Where is he playing again? He's overseas.
Yeah, that's a very good question. He currently plays for Ligue 1 club Troyes.
Oh.
France.
Okay.
Whether he plays for them, I'm not entirely sure, but that's where he is right now.
So, I don't. He would have to be like, he would have to turn into more of a head case than he clearly is, for this to be such that he's going to be omitted from the squad just due to his chronic liabilitiness on the pitch. So, I mean, just as that I guess player of chaos that you kind of alluded to, that's a reason for me to keep him on without question. I kind of feel like sometimes that's the move you need to switch things up, is just somebody who's going to go in a little harder and possibly commit a crime.
Let's
and
go for the old-fashioned burly centre forward, the big number 9. Just throw it in the mixer and see what happens.
Oh yeah, why not?
It's okay.
Why not?
Okay.
That's the if there was anybody though remotely threatening his spot, which I again don't think there is, this would be a much different answer.
Okay. Mm-hmm. No, I don't disagree. I think a lot of it will depend on. I think a lot of it will depend on what kind of disciplinary action gets handed down from MLS, and it'll go from there. And yeah, whether or not somebody else is catching fire. Ugbo's season just started, right? So he's played in 3 matches, 3 of 5 so far. Looks like he's doing all right. But yeah, nothing that is screaming standout as of just yet. So, all right. Well, the thing we didn't get to talk about last week, because Campiel are mean and deliberately announce things after we've recorded, I'm quite sure of it. New commish. A new commish in town. That's right. We have brand new commissioner. And after, an exhaustive international search, Mark Noonan, come on down. He seems fine. I mean, it could have been worse. I know that's damning with faint praise.
They could have given this job to old Cochrane as well.
Exactly, which is totally what I was expecting. It really was. Now, what I found funny about the whole thing, we'll talk about Noonan in a moment, is, they made this big deal about, the special announcement and, the countdown. Here's it's going to be this live thing and blah, 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 blah. And then they leaked it themselves. The announcement, all the information was up on the website like a solid half an hour before the official unveiling. And I think, I don't know who it was it Joshua Cloak? Maybe somebody else. Someone else had also jumped ahead and published their article, but I think they did it because they saw the post on the Campiel website. And I was like, this seems like poor social media management. I don't know. But I just thought that was rather funny, but also very Campiel, right? It just made sense.
Oh yeah, that's on brand.
It really is. So, Mark Noonan, he's a soccer exec. He's a sports executive, mostly a soccer executive. He's a marketing guy. But at the very least, and this is my little bit of praise for him. Why I was not as up in arms as some people were, mostly because of his nationality. Some people are very upset that he's American and not Canadian. I'm less.
To those people, I say, Earl Cochrane.
Yeah, right. That is an excellent rebuttal, Duncan. I like this. Is that he does have an extensive soccer background. And one of the things that has been problematic with the executive of the Campiel is, yes, it's still marketing heavy because he is a marketing guy, but nobody had, once Paul Barron left, there's very little soccer people in the room. that are, conducting business from the top, that are, making arrangements, making agreements, looking into anything, and they don't have the same understanding of the sport or understanding of what's trying to happen.
Kristin?
And it does, yes.
Sorry, what you said he's conducting business. What kind of business? What kind of business is it?
It's Canadian soccer business.
Canadian soccer business?
It's Canadian soccer business.
Interesting. Okay, go on.
So to me, at least in this sense, they made a good decision to finally put somebody in charge that has all of this knowledge and North American soccer knowledge as well, which, it's its own special brand of weirdness, right? So I think that aspect is a very appealing part of his hire, to me personally, anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, I guess. As I don't know much about him, but you read his the articles he put out there. It seems like he's been a bunch of places. He's done things. It's like, okay, this should work. Without really knowing too much about him, it seems like a solid decision. That's about as much as I have to say about it, really.
First off, I laughed at the whole wall. Why didn't they hire a Canadian? This is not the part of Canadian soccer that needs to be developed. Suits. I want to see hopefully things move forward in positive directions on some various fronts, things that we've discussed at length here, and knowing that the last guy was pretty much an expert at keeping a labor union at bay, I'm willing to try a new devil. And honestly, given that the CanPL is MLS light, or maybe it's worse, who knows? We'll never know. Might as well get a guy who knows how it's run, and hopefully through that, Edmonton can get sorted out a little faster than how it may be being handled right now. Maybe getting new clubs can be, I wouldn't say expedited, but moving faster than what it is right now. I look at this as where would we as supporters like to see this machine, this company, and it sounds like a pretty damn good, shrewd hire. I mean, it seems like also kind of a no-brainer. I can't imagine there were many resumes that would be as equipped to do what we're looking for, which is be MLS Light North.
How many people have represented clients such as the professional bull riders?
PBR. Who knows? But yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of sports business is pretty for the skill set you get from your experience in the NHL would be just as valuable in the NBA, which would be just as valuable in any North American sport.
Bill Manning's a good example of that.
Bill Manning is an excellent example of that. I don't know what his successes or failures look like. I don't know what his aside from his resume itself, I don't know what exactly he brings, say, specifically as an expertise to the table. But sure, I don't care who runs this thing as long as it moves forward. Because I can't look at this from a development point of view. This hire, I can't look at this hire as a development point of view. I have to look at this almost as a stakeholder point of view, as a person who wants to see more away days where I don't have to take a train. So, from that selfish standpoint, as long as he is pro Kitchener, London, Guelph 2 more Toronto teams, a Mississauga team, a Brampton team. I don't care if half the league plays within 20 minutes of my house. That's fucking
Actually,
okay.
I'm hearing that you really do care.
That's what I'm getting out of this match.
I don't care what other people think of half the league being in 20 minutes from my door. But like that's what I want. So if this hire gets me to that point where I can actually plan away days without having to book a hotel, then that's what I want. And that's one of the things I want. Also the union. Union is actually first, but this guy's, we'll see what he does.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, as well, I mean, it's just the CFL commissioner. I mean, he's the CEO of Canadian Soccer Business. So I don't know, very intrigued to see, how is he going to work with, Canada's Soccer Canada as a whole, really? Because this whole thing with the players and the striking and the blah, 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 it's kind of like, Canadian Soccer Business, they're the people that have, they're the kind of like the opponent in a way of that. They say, they've done this deal, so they're getting all the money now for themselves and for the CPL. And it's going to be interesting to see how you can negotiate things and work with Canada Soccer for just the national teams and the players within that. I think that's going to be a big thing because, Canadian Soccer Business is that really, that's who he's been hired to represent. You'd like to think, he's going to be great for the sport in the country as a whole, but no, he's very specifically hired for Canadian Soccer Business's interest. It's true. Soccer Canada, not Canada Soccer, the CSA or anything like, or the national team players or anything like that. So, that's going to be a challenging thing. It'll be interesting to see how he approaches all that.
I think the other thing that I saw someone bring up, and if you look at his resume, like he's worked in the women's game as well. And he said a couple very nice things in his intro press conference about the women's game and that sort of thing. So he's already obviously years and years and years in this business. He's adept at saying, some of the right things, and he certainly did in that case. So I get some people are very excited thinking that someone in the CanPL is actually supportive of developing a women's league. And that is important. And that would be great. So if that's true, like if this is something that he brings to the table, then I'm all for it. But as Mark said, to me, the most important thing is recognizing the PFA, and that, that still hasn't happened. That's still an ongoing push between the PFA and the league. The league is still pushing them off as much as possible. He gave a very bland and politic answer to the question on the CanPL, which obviously was not a hard-hitting thing or whatever, but what's your approach to communication and discussions with the league's players going forward, blah, blah, blah. Every successful sports league in the world, whether it's soccer, basketball, football, baseball, you name the sport, has to have a healthy dialogue with labor. The fact that the discussion is starting to happen in Canada, are you sure it's their discussion? Means that there's something good happening here. Anyway, it's incumbent. Everyone has to talk, blah, 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 right place, right time. Yeah. And so nothing that was really supportive of course, this is a conversation we need to get going immediately sort of thing. He didn't completely dismiss it out of hand and say, we're pretty good guys up here. So who knows what's going to happen, but I hope that the pressure continues from the players, from the fans for this, and that maybe having somebody again who has worked in this sport, not just all over North America, but other places in the world, and in other sports where, as he says, there's always labor relations, has a better understanding or willingness to actually embrace this as a necessity instead of something that's adversarial.
Yeah, you'd hope so. You would definitely hope so.
Like, I can only be optimistic until I'm disappointed. That's kind of the attitude. Like, will I be disappointed? Very, very likely. Like, let's be honest, very likely. But until that happens, I got to give him a chance, because one, I don't have a choice in the matter, and two, I'd rather be optimistic and hope that things are going to improve wholesale for players wanting to chase this as a profession, wanting this league to develop players, wanting this league to sell on players. I understand the role though of this league in the grand scheme of things, and I want all those things. I don't want all these players to eventually leave and get paid beaucoup bucks and have fantastic careers. And I would love them to be able to have a career in the KMPL, but I also want them to be able to, I don't want to say survive, but make a wage in a league that knows that they know that's going to protect their best interests, so they can move on, so they can be comfortable, so they can focus all their energy on the game instead of just like, well, at least I'm in season, I'm getting paid now. So until he disappoints me, I'm hopeful. That's all I've got. That's all I can do.
That seems reasonable. All right. Before we move on to talking about a bunch of matches, we mentioned the World Cup, and obviously the World Cup is coming up in less than 3 months. And one of the things that we often talk about are what the players are wearing, because soccer fans are very fashion conscious, if you did not know. And part of being a fan of Canadian soccer is that we have to accept that Canada is not getting a new kit for this World Cup cycle, because nobody thought that Canada was going to make this World Cup. So they did not make arrangements to have a new kit made, because you have to do this.
That sounds like the sort of management you would get from a visionary who is the sort of person who would turn out to be the best option from a worldwide search.
Right.
That's what that sounds like.
That's what I agree. Now, there have been some very nice kits released and combination things. Mexico killing it. God damn. That kit and that jacket. Jesus Lord.
That creamy kit.
Just hook that into my fucking veins. And there's been some very nice ones. There's been some sus ones. Belgium. Welcome to Flavortown. It's not terrible, but it looks like something. It looks like something that Ed Hardy would have sold in the 90s.
True. Theory could be a something from a name from the Walloon region.
Perhaps.
Possibly South Flemish.
But what everyone has been talking about for the last couple of days are the Puma kits for a number of countries, because Puma has more connections than I thought. And dear gods, why? And seriously, dear gods, why?
Some of them are okay.
The non-square having ones. The non-square having ones. Some of those are actually not bad. The ones that have...
Yeah, the Serbian red one with the gold cuffs and everything. I quite like that.
Yep. But it's this... Yeah, there was one of the Ghana ones.
Austria's red and white one, fantastic. I really like that. Austria's red and white one.
Okay, I have the wrong article. I need for the headlines.
But yeah. The rest, yeah.
It's
it's a mess. It's not. It's unimpressive. Like, you're right. Some of the home kits are decent. No, I don't think I could honestly say with a straight face any of them are really good. But the change kits, the away kits. Like, for those of you who aren't maybe as up on the Puma kit thing, Last season, they did a thing where they made third kits for most of their big teams, and they all kind of look like they were trying to channel their best shot at a university sweatshirt. Like they just had the name of the city or the club right across the chest.
Mm.
You know, like at UNLV. Instead, it said Manchester, you know, or Marseille. And
Manchester Etihad.
yeah, Manchester,
Essentially,
which is a great,
the sponsors were still the biggest part of the whole thing.
But it's just like I don't know who they were for. And I mean, I guess you can say we were trying to go in a new direction. Fine. But those look like warm-up kits, and they were not. They were actual outer like playing kits. And now, from the people who brought you that brilliant, there were air quotes. I don't know if you could hear that.
Oh, I heard them loud and clear.
All the away kits have a box where the number on the center of your chest goes.
So weird.
Which if you haven't looked it up, that doesn't sound out of the ordinary. Nike did a circle a couple World Cups ago where they put the number in the middle. Looked perfectly fine, right? Wrong. These look like I don't know. The best one I've seen is that Switzerland, the away one. They have it's a red trim box with a red band across the top that's where the Swiss logo goes in the flag. But a "Hello, my name is" sticker could easily be mistaken for that.
That's exactly what it looks like.
And once you see that, and once you make that connection, you have to wonder: does anybody who works in Puma's design wing get outside ever? Do they not know how to people with people? Because you would know what that looks like, and you would never go forward with an idea that could be mistaken for a "Hello, my name is" sticker.
Yeah.
So, the rest of them don't look so bad, but they are all collectively terrible.
Italy's is awful. So well done, Italy, for not qualifying for the World Cup and having to display this to the world quite so dramatically. Good decision, because that's a shit kit.
Yeah.
Iceland as well. Iceland have had some great kits, and this is just so fucking bland and nothing. And,
Puma has kind of phoned in a lot.
Most of this, yeah.
I mean, I would say that most of the World Cup has been phoned in, save for Adidas's efforts. And maybe some of the smaller firms, but like Nike's kits are kind of phoned in, and these are really phoned. Like the Morocco kit, which the home kit, I have a kind of a love / very disappointed relationship, because that kit is based on a World Cup that they've made, and I don't know I can't remember what World Cup it was based off of, but it looks almost identical, except for the fact that it's a red shirt, green cuffs, green V-neck collar, and there's a green band that kind of goes across the chest from like armpit to armpit. It's maybe like, you know, a thumb's length wide, and in the middle there's a cut where the Puma logo goes, and over the left side is the national team crest. But the original one, that band literally goes from armpit to armpit. This kind of cuts, and I don't think it's where the sleeve is. It looks like somebody tried to make a t-shirt representation of a kit, and it looks really weird. And I hope I'm wrong. Maybe it was one of the photos I saw, but it's like, I know you were trying to do an homage, but you actually made it cheaper looking, and that was kind of sad.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Puma's not done good work here, and which is a shame, because I can usually say they do good work, and they've really let everybody down. I guess maybe it's supply chain issues. That's probably what they're going to say once they realize they can't fucking move any of these. I mean, unless
we didn't have that many to begin with. Yeah.
Unless, of course, Ghana wins the World Cup, which would be one, awesome, and two, they would actually sell all the shirts. Bear thought for those Swiss kits, because
100%.
Good luck to you guys.
Stay tuned for more kit talk over the coming weeks and months leading up to the World Cup. Just not about Canada.
Pre-sorry, sort of. Not really.
All right, well, it is time to talk about what is coming up this week, and there's a lot of matches. And first up, we are going to talk very briefly about the Canadian Women's National Team, the XNT, who, as we know, are in the Land of Oz, the Down Under, playing against the Matildas. And before we talk about what time you have to be up to watch these matches, another unfortunate injury report. Kadisha Buchanan is now also out with injury. So Canada are missing.
Joining, I know Elisa Chapman. Anyone else?
Elisa Chapman, Jade Riviere, Deanne Rose.
Why aren't we canceling this? Why even bother?
Ashley Lawrence.
I guess
God, somebody. I feel like I'm missing somebody. I think there's like one more. Anyway, they're having some issues. Now we talked about some of the young players that have already been picked for the squad, so obviously they're going to have to step up and step in. But yeah, not great at all, especially because these are, like you said, these are important matches for the players to get a feel for playing in Australia. Playing, because they've got the World Cup next season. There's the new stadium in Sydney, so this would have been an opportunity for the players to, again, get a feel for this stadium and what it's like, what its playing surface is like, because it's literally just opened, or is just, I think it just opened this past weekend. Like it's brand new. And again, you never want to see. You never want your top players to be injured. You want everyone to be healthy and well. And Kadisha's in her first season in England, playing with Chelsea. So, anyway, unfortunate. But the show must go on. There are two matches, and oh boy, dedicated. You need to be dedicated, folks, to watch these matches.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Well, time difference is a bitch, right? And this is something to look forward to for the Women's World Cup next year in Australia and New Zealand. Is this off 13-hour
World Cup show friendlies? No. Nope.
Whereas,
good luck to you all, but nope.
Yeah, thank you. It'll be good. My sleep patterns are going to be fucked completely. So, first match is on Saturday, just barely, if you're here in Ontario. So, 12:45 a.m. is kickoff. So, if you're on the West Coast, it's a lovely, leisurely 9:45. Friday night, September 2nd, no problem. What a way to start your weekend, right? You just, stay up, have some drinks, you're all good. Everybody else, just stay up. The next one is the hard one. So Tuesday, September 6th, and 5:40 a.m. On Tuesday morning for those of us on the East Coast, and 2:40 for the West Coast. So
kids today, what's wrong with waking up at 5:40 in the morning, Kristin?
Going to do the chores and everything. You're right.
Exactly.
You're right.
You got to go out and do this and this before you get to work.
Yeah. This is
perfectly fine time to wake up.
Perfectly fine. You're right. It'll be fine. But again, I got up at whatever insane hours I was getting up while I was in BC last summer for the Olympics. To watch the matches and tweet the matches. So I have some experience with this, but woo, that's early. It is going to be.
Are you voyageurs tweeting again for these ones?
I will be, of course.
Okay.
My other thank you. My other unpaid job. It should be fine. It'll be fine. It's okay. I can go back to sleep after the match. It'll be fine. Anyway, so these will be on One Soccer or Fubo. Just if you use Fubo, occasionally finding the matches for One Soccer can be a bit challenging. So sometimes just do some creative searching or wait for somebody else to tweet about it to tell you how to find it. If there are issues, I will tweet about it. I will, if it's under something weird, I'll post something. But just a heads up, this has been happening a bit recently, that it's required creative searching to find matches on Fubo for One Soccer. Now, given the dearth of injuries to the Canadian national team, women's team, and travel, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, lack of scoring a lot of the time. So they've lost players on both fronts. They've lost some defensive players. They've lost some attacking players. I think the Australian side's really only missing one of their main players. I think Al Carpenter is out. But Canada's usually really strong defensively, whereas Australia usually has a strong attacking game. And so normally this would sort of like cancel each other out. But Canada's lost a little bit of everything. I still think that there is an opportunity for them to at least win a match. I don't know that they're going to win both matches, and I don't think either match is going to be particularly high scoring from either side. But gentlemen, would you like to give me some score predictions for these games?
Man,
I know. Asking the tough questions.
I'm gonna go with. I think they'll get a draw the first game. Say we'll go 1-1.
Okay.
And Australia is going to want to christen the new ground, and they'll get them back. Like we'll say 2-1.
I'm going to go with lose 1-0, then lose 2-0. Crikey.
I think the first match...
There will be the shrimp on the Australians' barbecue.
I think they're each going to take one. I think they're going to lose 1-0 the first match, and I think they're going to win 1-0 the second match. They're going to split the series. Anyway, so yeah, set your alarms, program your coffee makers. I'll be tweeting via the Voyagers account, so you can join me there. Keep me company. Come and keep me awake. But it should be fun. And no, we don't have viewing parties for these matches. So there. And then two big matches for Toronto FC this week, both in terms of their playoff hopes, but also big emotional matches. So Wednesday night, day after recording, we have the return of Vanny. Dun, dun, dun. Hilariously, I think it's hilarious anyway, 8 years to the day in which he took over for the fired Ryan Nelson. So Ryan Nelson was fired August 31st, 2014. Greg Vanny was hired that day, appointed that day, evening, whatever it was. So he comes back, his first time back in Toronto since leaving to go manage the Galaxy 8 years to the day. Layers.
Wow.
So yeah, so this is one of those matches. And then he did a match with Montreal, so always fraught with emotion. And we'll talk about that in a few minutes. But so this is, like I said, it's Vanny's first time back. He's bringing with him several ex-Reds, a couple that he has refurbished. But apparently not Mark Delgado. Apparently he didn't travel. I don't know what's up with that. Yeah, I saw that on the Twitters.
I was ready to buy a ticket and go there and give him a standing ovation.
So Raheem Edwards has sort of, blossomed under Vanny after bouncing around a bit after leaving Toronto. And, of course, Victor Vasquez. That one still hurts. And Zavaleta, too, but he hasn't played that much this season.
He's going to say
that one doesn't hurt at all.
That one really doesn't hurt at all.
That actually feels great.
But I think Zavs has only played, 4 or 5 games?
That's 4 or 5 more games I thought he would ever play again.
Oh, that's just mean, man.
It kind of is, but he was really brutal, and I don't know how he got another job.
This is the captain of El Salvador you're talking about.
Exactly.
Mark.
Come on.
You know what? I'm proud of him for getting that, and like legit, that is not even a joke. I'm so happy for him because I can't think of the United States ever needing that bad of a center back. Or a right back. I can't remember what the hell he played because it didn't move much.
Center back. He was a center back.
Because he didn't move much. Yeah. So anyway, I can't believe he's still playing. But family. So who am I to make fun of family? 3/4 of the Bradley family is fucking employed by Toronto FC. So
yeah, there you go. Mm-hmm.
That's true. Oh yeah. Don't forget Uncle Jeff is there too.
Oh yeah.
I imagine there's others we just don't know of yet.
Exactly. Secret Bradleys. Anyway, so there's Vasquez, obviously beloved, Raheem Edwards. Most people have very fond memories. We're sad to see him go. Would have actually enjoyed having him back here. Marky Delgado, I think most people would have been happy to see him. But again, he did not travel apparently. And so all of this.
Yeah, I think we talk about all the sort of family connections and everything. Sort of Mark was talking about. There's a certain Jay Klinsman on LA's squad here.
Oh God, that's right. It's his son, isn't it?
I forgot all about that.
About him.
Oh, I totally. I forgot that.
Klinsman. Yeah.
I forgot that he played. Like was still like a thing. Do you know what I mean?
Well,
I sort of
he doesn't
remember.
really play. He hasn't got a minute to his game yet this season, but he's theoretically on their squad.
Yep. Yep. Hilarious.
Incredible.
So, again, big match for a variety of reasons. Important for playoff consideration for both sides. The Galaxy haven't exactly been lighting it up this season. They're just holding on to seventh place in the standings, and they're literally a point ahead of Portland, 3 points ahead of Vancouver, a few points ahead of Seattle. And we all know what Seattle does towards the end of the season, right? So anyway, they've not been, scoring lots of goals, but also letting in a shit ton of goals. Their goal differential is only 4. Not the greatest record on the road. It's not terrible. Again, it's MLS. It's hard to have a great record on the road. But anyway, both teams are fighting for something in terms of their MLS lives. But yeah, this game is going to have a lot of underlying emotional components. No matter what anybody says, they'll be like, oh no, it's just like playing another team. No, that's bullshit. It's not. The fan reception will likely be warm and fuzzy. I don't know. Go ahead, sorry.
No, I agree with that. I don't, unless they bring on Zavaleta from the bench, then who knows. But
just to mess with us.
I feel sort of Vanny and Vasquez in particular.
Yes, agreed.
Get a lot of love. Like Edwards, some people really like him. I can't imagine anyone has anything bad to say about him. There's probably a lot of people who maybe just don't really care that much about Edwards. But Vanny and Vasquez should both be getting warm receptions, I would imagine. I shouldn't say should. I think do whatever the fuck you like. Boo the shit out of them, whatever. But I think they will get good receptions.
Yes. Now, I've seen some people calling for there to be a special moment by TFC for Vanny. I don't know if we need to go that far. That feels excessive.
I mean,
sure, club legend of a sort.
I think the furthest they should take the special moment, legitimately, is when the PA guy is announcing who the starting 11 is, to take an extra 3-second pause when he hits all the ex-TFC players, and that's it. That's the acknowledgement. It's not that we're they're not on a retirement tour, even though Zavaleta probably should be. I feel like that's enough to hey, we're still having a game. You guys are our opponents. We need 3 points. This is the token you're getting. A pause in between when we go from Chicharito's name to Vasquez's name, you get some time for a. So.
Yeah.
Because when Vasquez sets up both goals, you'll have plenty of time to give him applause.
I could see them doing some kind of like little video tribute for sort of Vanny. Probably not the other ones, but like for Vanny, I think it's a pre-game or what have you. After warm-ups, that little bit sort of between warm-ups before the players come out, I could totally see them doing something sort of for that. But
yeah,
that's probably about it.
I don't think, I feel like I got an email from Toronto FC today about, information about your tickets for blah, blah, blah. Because they usually send some sort of random, hey, here's how you get in or whatever.
Don't forget there's shit happening around.
Yeah, exactly. About parking and stuff like that, right? So, what? Okay, I literally just deleted this email a little while ago. So where is it?
Because spam sucks. That's why.
Oh, there we go. Even though typing Toronto anyway. So everything you know about match day, because usually they will tell you, be in your seats early because something exciting is happening.
You need to be advertised to.
They have mentioned nothing. So they will probably advertise it at like 4:00 tomorrow afternoon, just because that's what's going to happen. All right. So, as we mentioned, Jonathan Osorio and Mark Anthony Kaye looks like they are making their way back from injury. May or may not be a factor at all. May not even make the 18 tomorrow, but perhaps on the weekend. It looks like everybody else is in pretty good shape. Haven't heard of any other injuries, that sort of thing. So that is good. And other than Marquis Delgado, haven't really heard of anything, anyone missing from them. So do we just all agree that it's going to be Victor Vasquez that's going to just make us all sad by making beautiful things happen for his team?
Seconded.
I mean, I just want to know if he can still score a goal with his crotch again. I think that would be special. I think that would be a befitting tribute on a couple of different levels.
Okay, reasonable, yes.
Yeah, I want to see that that sort of level of ball control again. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
Ball control.
Fair.
Controlling balls.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Good times.
And I guess the other thing maybe we'll just quickly touch base on before we pick a player to watch that's maybe not an ex-Red. I don't know. Do what you want. I don't care. The interview that John Molinaro did with Vanny, and had a lot of people very sort of, Vanny didn't want to leave. He didn't want to leave. Like, sure, he didn't want to leave, but like if you read the article, it's slightly less overwrought than that. He seemed sad that things weren't working out with management, and I agree. They probably should have worked harder to extend his contract, all those good things. But I feel like he fell into or found himself a pretty good position, new challenge, new adventure, close to home kind of thing. So I don't know. For those of you that have read it, let us know your thoughts on this. Does it read very much like Vanny feels like super hard done by, like, oh, he was willing to like sacrifice so much to stay? Or is it really just sometimes this is what happens and this is what happened? And it's unfortunate for some people that it happened, but both teams have survived the divorce, as it were, and are moving on to other relationships.
I wouldn't say either side has flourished since the divorce.
No, it's you got to have those rebound relationships first. So.
Yeah, indeed. It's the tweet that Molinaro put out, that freaking clickbait artist that he is. Was all like, oh my God, Vanny wanted to stay, but no, it didn't work out all that. And yeah, you read the whole article. And yeah, Vanny was interested in staying and was going to see what comes along. And then it was more about, just I guess the direction the team wanted to go, it wasn't quite right. And so, they moved on. It's not like Vanny was desperate and would do anything and they told him no. It's, these things happen. It's fine. Not worth drama, I would say,
No, and certainly not this far now. You know what I mean? Like, it's in the past, so. All right, well then, player to watch.
And we all just decide on Victor Vazquez.
It's
I mean, we can. It's allowed. It's within the rules to do that. You are allowed to pick the same player. It's okay. I've never said you can't.
I sort of go with that. What's his name? That just to bring it up here. That Balcazar guy.
Balky? What?
Balcazar. He's probably quite good.
Oh, that guy. Yeah, I heard he's pretty good.
He's got a bunch of goals for them so far.
First time I'm seeing his last name.
I know. I was like,
I was like, who's this guy? Oh, that guy. Right.
It's slightly less common Hernandez a name associated with him.
Yes.
I mean, all right. So like, both of mine are kind of joke answers because one is, I know it's shade, but I hope that Sasha Klassen's mustache comes back.
I was just gonna say. And I literally just scrolled past him on the list, and I was like, "Oh God, Klassen's terrible mustache."
And I think we're gonna have to go with Bond, John Bond.
Oh yeah, he's like started every match, hasn't he?
Yeah, it's I mean those are my joke answers. I mean, I'll obviously leave Raheem Edwards for you because.
Thank you.
That's where you're leaning.
Again, you're allowed to pick him too. Like Raheem is my answer.
One, and I mean, the real answer for me is always going to be Vazquez because brought me so much joy, and I can never get mad at him, even if he plays for somebody else.
Yep.
But it's still Sasha Klassen's mustache and Bond.
Yeah, he's been decent for them. So, Raheem and Vazquez, that's what I'm paying attention to for sure. All right. Score predictions.
3-3. Sloppy defensive shit show. No one's really happy. 3-3.
Everyone's really happy. Duncan's really happy.
Some might say it's appropriate for an exhibition.
Oh,
thank you. Thank you.
Try the insert insane C&E food stuff here.
Yes, that's almost right up there with the random within the just the rundown. Kristin said, "Oh, it's the X Games." It's like, the exhibition, but it's all TFC X's.
Yes, thank you. Layers.
What you doing there? Yeah, puns are everywhere.
Good.
I know. I couldn't help myself. It was sort of just like happening.
I mean, I'm secretly hoping for more skateboarding, but whatever.
Sorry, I'm not very well versed in that world. So
it's fine. Who is
Tony Hawk still a thing? No, all right.
Barely. I think he is. Anyway, it's not fine. It's fine.
Shaun White isn't even still a thing.
That's snowboarding.
That's part of the X Games, isn't it?
Oh yeah, good point. Just Mark said skateboarding.
Well, indeed.
But no,
I'm struggling
right.
here. I don't have a lot of references for this, Kristin. Who's
the motocross or the guy that married Pink? Carey Hart? Is that his name?
Corey Hart?
Man.
No, Carey Hart.
Never heard of him.
Carey. Why do I know that? Oh my God, that's terrible.
That's an entire segment. Why does Kristin know this shit?
Does he get to call himself Mr. Pink? Because that's kind of cool.
Okay, that is pretty sweet. would be worth it. Would
it would totally be worth it.
Would propose. I think you just got to now at this point.
Yeah.
All right, predictions. I'm gonna go 3-2 for Toronto.
Hooray!
Yeah, I think that's reasonable. I'm on board with that. Okay. So, unlike some years when we get to escape with only one fucking match during the CNE, no, this year we have 2. Although it's not like the one year where we had 3. That was horrible. I hated it. So this weekend on Sunday, the Snowflakes are in town. But just the team, because the fans aren't allowed to show up. Now, when I say that, the official support has not been given ticket allocation or a section. So be on the lookout for rogue Montreal fans, because they're probably going to be around. And that all stems from earlier issues between supporter groups in Montreal, and also stuff that's happened here in Toronto. Anyway, the league had issued some sort of ban for the Montreal fans earlier, either late last season or earlier this season, and it's apparently just carried over. There were discussions, and the discussions, I guess, did not go well, so there's no official away section for the Montreal Ultras, 1642, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So just heads up, those of you that are going to this match, you may see Montreal fans in places you wouldn't necessarily expect within the stadium. Be nice. Just try.
Fair.
Yeah. So, Montreal are having an obnoxiously good year.
Bastards.
They really are. It is. It's annoying. They are doing well. That's really.
To be fair, and I've seen this tweeted out there, there's probably a few people, mainly it's of Dwayne Rollins, they're only really doing well against the shit teams, so TFC will be fine.
Oh, you're adorable. Sure, but doing really well against the shit teams has put them in second place in the conference.
Yes.
So
it helps with that.
You know, it is now it's the Eastern Conference, which is obviously the lesser of the conferences.
The Eastern Conference?
But it still puts them in fourth place in the league.
Conference.
The Eastern Conference, yeah. But it's still good enough for fourth place in the league. So again, not terrible at all. The other thing I would like to bring to your attention about Montreal's record is that currently, as of day of recording, their away record is better than their home record.
Oh.
They are the only team, one of the only teams in the league to have that.
Again, this doesn't bode well for their playoff chances, because again, playoff chances, they're probably going to be playing against an actual good team, not a shit team. And also, given their record, they're probably going to be playing at home, not away. So, congratulations, Montreal. You played yourself. You're losing at home in the first round.
That's amazing.
That's spectacular.
I love that. I love this. It's all coming together. This is perfect.
Get yourself into that 5th or 6th position and go from there.
That's magical right there. That is brilliant analysis.
It's just logic, Kristin.
It's just logic. You're right.
It's just science.
It's true.
We should all embrace science. It's the most important thing.
Yes.
All right.
They're playing away against the shit team, so they'll probably win this one.
Well, who are they playing midweek? So they are home to, now this is interesting, they're home to the Energy Drinks, who have an exceptional road record. So they're probably going to lose their Wednesday night match. Just, because, the Red Bulls have, a really just strangely very good away record. They've only lost three matches on the road. Interesting. All right. But yeah, so again, obviously matches against Montreal are always a big deal. Always, because they are our biggest rival. But regardless if it's a cup match or a playoff match, it doesn't matter. These ones always have that little extra underlying, current running through them. So they're usually scrappy. I would definitely expect that. And so far this season, Montreal won the last outing back in July, 1-0, but Toronto pasted them earlier on in the season, 4-0. That was fun. But this match currently, which I thought was, I just love this. And again, they've played lots of matches, and it doesn't take much to, tilt these things one way or the other. But the overall MLS series between the two teams is currently tied. They each have 20 wins, and there's 7 draws. It's balance. So, yes, there you go. A little factoid for you.
Okay.
Now, Montreal are unbeaten in 5, maybe longer. Obviously, Toronto were on an unbeaten streak until the loss in Miami. But, again, as we all know, they did well in Charlotte. So, yeah. Should be an exciting pair of matches. I hope so anyway. I hope, we're not just jinxing it, or I'm not jinxing it by saying that, which obviously I probably am.
Mm-hmm. I've got to say, I mean, you look through the Montreal squad and everything, and I've seen a few random games here or there over the years. Montreal's got a likable team.
I know.
Yeah,
it's annoying.
Yeah, they've got fucking Alistair Johnston, Kamal Miller, Joel Waterman.
Exactly.
For a guy who's come up through the CPL,
Chouanier.
What a man, what a mighty good man. Delightful. Yeah, Chouanier, Romo
Kit,
Kai Kamara.
Kai Kamara, for fuck's sakes. Kamal Miller.
Yeah.
Like
George
their team.
Mihanovic is fun to watch.
Samuel PX.
Yeah, exactly. They've got Montreal loves Canada. Toronto doesn't. Montreal, there's so many potential Canadian bench players at the World Cup.
Oh, I know.
Alistair Johnston, Kamal Miller.
James Pentemis, he's probably going to be one of the backup keepers at the World Cup, would be my guess. It would be Orion and St. Clair, but probably Pentemis. But yeah, seriously.
Yeah, there's a lot of players to like in Montreal. So, yeah,
I know.
It's like boo Montreal, whatever.
I know. Even their coach is likable. How do you not like this guy?
Yeah.
So annoying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to. I mean, they've all in the last couple of years they've had one or two players on the team where I've can't hate them just because they're so good. They're just so good. No matter what you do, I love them, and I wish they played for Toronto. But yeah, you're right. They are quite loaded with affable characters, top to bottom. So I don't want them to get destroyed. I want them to lose and have fun.
Yeah, a good sloppy defensive shit show. These guys score a bunch of goals. Nice things happen, but TFC end up with more goals, and everyone's happy.
Everyone goes home happy. Huzzah! All right. Well, now that we've listed an impressive array of likable players, who is your player to watch? And is everybody saying Kai Kamara?
I'm going to go with Romo Kyoto. I'm not sure I should really include him in likable players. He's more of a sort of villainous player.
Yeah, that's a better choice right there.
Can be enjoying in that respect if you enjoy a good villain. Romo Kyoto.
I'm going to go with Chouanier the Lesser. Mostly because it's I don't get it, but sure, I guess you are the one who plays in the MLS. Whatever, fine. He's you can set your watch to him. He's a solid guy. A lot of guys on this team that fit that description. Who am I kidding? Where's is he hurt, or am I just not seeing him on the list?
Who are you looking for?
Oh. future media king of soccer,
Alistair Johnston.
Like,
Yeah, I know, right?
He's the only.
I live for his
I
interviews
can't wait till he retires, just so he can be on television more.
all the time. Please,
I want that. I want that, and I hope he doesn't go one soccer because I want to see.
I know. I want him to start his own soccer media empire and just be like on every show because he's just. I love his interviews. Oh my God.
Yeah, 110% isn't enough for him to say, but it's plenty for him to give. Yeah, it's still going to be Schwanier the Lesser.
Mine is Alistair Johnston, just because I'm a huge fan of his, and I do find again, it's been great to see him continue to flourish. Yeah. And then with a smidgen of Kai Kamara because it's Kai, but Alistair Johnston's mine. All right.
Has Kai Kamara actually overtaken Landon Donovan now, or is he tied with Landon Donovan? Or it's maybe somebody else. He's like maybe third behind Landon Donovan.
I think he's third behind.
He's just come up the rankings that recently. He's made a move for that. I feel like I need to try and look that up exactly where he is.
All right, hang on, I'm on it.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Yeah, I hear furious typing. It's great.
Yes.
He's
just passed Jeff fucking Cunningham.
Oh, really?
Yes. So yeah, he's now 10 behind Landy Cakes for second place.
Oh, damn.
Well behind one though.
Wow. Yeah.
But yeah, he's.
I would love it if he would. Oh, if he would pass Landy Cakes, that would just make me so happy.
Mm.
That would be great. That would be great.
He's just overtaken Jaime Moreno as well. Yeah, okay. Bradley Wright Phillips. What happened to him?
More goals to tie Christ. I don't know why he's just sitting around.
Mm-hmm.
There's a part of me that feels he looks at that once a week and goes, "I think I can do it," and just
and then just does something. Yeah,
he just goes and looks at the roster. Goes and looks at who's like the standings. I
have a random Devo fact. Sorry,
go on.
Just because no. This one's super interesting. I think anyway because I like cooking shows. So, dear listeners and panelists, I watch Top Chef. So Top Chef Canada, Top Chef, whatever American city they're in, because they're wonderful. It's one of the best cooking competitions. Very good television. Really, really interesting. There's a new season of Top Chef Canada starting later on next month. And not a regular judge, but as a special, he's one of the guest judges, Dwayne DiRosario, guest judge on Top Chef Canada. I was reading like an article about it, and suddenly I just stopped and started laughing because it says Dwayne DiRosario, author and Canadian sports icon, and I just laughed. And then I thought of Duncan, and then I thought of Mark, and then I thought I had to bring it up somehow. And then you said his name, and I was like, yes, perfect.
I think the tragedy here is that author got listed first.
Yep, that was the thing that made me laugh.
Oh yeah,
I thought they were just going alphabetical within the sentence, but
DiRosario, you mean that book guy? Yeah, he's gonna be on. I love his writing.
Why did he write a book again? No, he just did. No reason. Was it about his career? What was his career? No, it was nothing really. Yeah.
I can't remember, but it was a good book.
Yeah. Worth writing a book about, though. Oh yeah,
won an award or something. Yeah,
it was just so funny. Anyway, so for the cross section of Canadian soccer and Top Chef fans, there you go. Somewhere in the Top Chef season, you get to see Dwayne DiRosario.
Let me know when he's going to be on the Lego Builder show. I'll be more interested.
Okay, I will let you know that for sure.
Fantastic. To go back to Kai Kamara, I just looking at the Wikipedia page for the list of Major League Soccer players with 100 or more goals. It delights me just the basic list there. and it's got the players and who they played for and that sort of thing. And Kai Kamara's entry is just so much wider than everybody else's, just because of all the teams that he's played for. Wondolowski, 2 teams. Donovan, 2 teams. Kamara, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9 teams.
9 teams?
Cunningham, 4. Moreno, 2.
Let's track after 6.
Wright Phillips, 3.
9 teams.
Yeah. Columbus,
awesome.
San Jose, Houston, Kansas, New England, Vancouver, Colorado, Minnesota, Montreal. Whew.
So greedy.
When's its Toronto turn? When is it Toronto's turn, is what I meant to say.
I hear that if you get to sign Kai Kamara, the league now issues you a plaque. So that's going to go right in the
there should be.
KTG.
Yeah, exactly.
They're going to have to knock out a part of the wall next to the empty space in the cabinet where the Champions League trophy is going to be for the Kai Kamara, hey, you signed him plaque. I think that's very, very important for this league's history that everybody gets one at some point in time. And
Well, it's only fair.
and you ain't getting younger, guys. Come on, hurry up.
All right. Score predictions for this match, because I don't think we've done that yet.
I feel like we kind of did that. Everyone, we want a good time for everybody. So it's going to be, Montreal scores lots of goals and hooray for them. But Toronto scores more. 3-2.
I liked your 3-2. Sure, what the hell, 3-2 Toronto.
Hooray.
It was either that or go 3-2 Montreal, but I'm going to go 3-2 Toronto.
Okay, Kristin. Kristin.
No.
Kristin.
I'm on.
Kristin.
Okay,
There's only one option.
Apparently, there's only one. Okay, fine. 3-2 Toronto.
Awooga.
Awooga.
Awooga,
Yes.
motherfuckers.
Okay, well, on that note of joyful consensus.
Wait. The best part about that is that you came to that scoreline all on your own with no pressure.
Exactly. There was no pressure. I thought
you.
about this, and this was I really gave it some serious thought over the past couple days, and yeah.
You're doing so good. Proud
Thank
of you.
Me too. All right. Well, on that note of joyful consensus, that is our show for this week. Please join us next week when we recap a gazillion matches, see how the women did, see how Toronto did, see if anything changes within the top 4 of the CanPL, and who knows, whatever else interesting happens in the world of football that delights us. I have been joined by 2 of our 3 usual panelists, to be found out there on the Twitters at Duncan D. Fletcher, Mr. Duncan Fletcher.
Bonjour.
Out in the Twitterverse at KitNerdMark with a K, not a Q, Mr. Mark Hinckley.
Thank you to everybody who continuously supports our podcast via Patreon. We absolutely appreciate it. We have shirts there on our Zazzle shop. You can find the link on our website. And thank you to those of you who went and subscribed to our YouTube channel. We are up to a whopping single digits number. But that's okay. That's okay. It's going to take time. I didn't expect everyone to do this right away, but consider us when you are playing about in YouTube. You think, hey, you know what? Local Minority could use a subscription. A subscribe.
Yeah. You love us.
So thank you very much. And konnichiwa.
Yes.
Bonjour.
As for me, you can find me on the internet, yes, the entire internet, at KZ Knowles. I've been your host, Kristin Knowles. And until next week, Canada, get used to it.
Well, Kristin hasn't been welcoming to any foreigners.
Oh, Buenos Aires.
There you go.